Hello champs! Have you ever wondered about the different things you could do if you had a clone? I mean, think about it. One person could be watching the TV while the other studies for your test. I think it would be amazing. A clone is an exact copy of a plant or an animal. Although we might not be able to clone ourselves yet, we have groups of people among us who look like clones. We call them identical twins. Identical twins are siblings that are born nearly or around the same time. They look very much alike and are often dressed in matching outfits. Today, we are going to be reading a story about a set of identical twins and some mischief that they got up to. Now friends, pay close attention so you can easily discuss specific information from the story. Specific information talks about important details in a story or a text. It could be numbers, names, places, time, people, and so on. Long ago, in the village of Shendam, there lived a happy couple, Mr. and Mrs. Senwok, who had been childless for 7 years until they finally had a set of twins. It was as though the gods had finally heard their prayers. They had a grand celebration and invited all from far and wide to share in their joy. The couple named each twin after their fathers. Mr. Senwok named the first twin Kesem, while Mrs. Senwok named the second twin Digo. The twins were so identical that even their mother sometimes struggled to tell them apart. As the twins grew, they looked even more alike, so much so that only their parents could tell them apart. Kesem and Digo did everything together. They were in the same class. They also shared the same hobby, which is playing football, and often got into trouble together. Most times, the only reason they got into trouble together was that Kesem had done something wrong, and whoever was to punish them could not tell the difference. Digo did not mind. He loved his brother. Kesem loved adventures and could not wait to explore the neighboring villages and towns. One evening, while Digo was finishing up his homework, Kesem suggested that they take a stroll to the lake. The lake? Digo replied in shock. We are forbidden from going anywhere near that lake, Kesem, Digo replied. Do I need to remind you of all the animals and children that have been missing because of that lake? People only say that to scare children from going there. Kesem laughed. Besides, we'll be back before anyone finds out, he added. Digo, knowing how strong-willed his brother is, thought to remind him. Have you forgotten the punishment for anyone who goes close to the lake? You could get banished from the village. No one will see me, resorted Kesem, who was now getting impatient with all the discouraging comments from his brother. Focus on your homework. I won't be long. With that, Kesem stormed out of the house. As he approached the lake, the air was cool and still. He looked left and right to make sure that no one was watching. Everywhere was quiet except for the chirping of crickets and the occasional croaks from the frogs around. He went towards the lake and threw a few stones into it. He enjoyed the sounds they made as they landed in the water. When he had grown bored of throwing stones, he He turned back and headed for home as it was getting dark. As soon as he got in, he boasted to his brother about his little adventure and how no one had seen him. What Kesem did not know was that someone had in fact seen him. The next morning, some elders from the king's council came knocking. Mr. and Mrs. Senwok were informed that one of the twins had been seen at the lake and that they were there to make sure that the culprit was sent out of the village as quickly as possible. Mrs. Senwok wept and wept, claiming that her twins would never do such. Mr. Senwok was confused as they had eaten dinner together the previous night and no one was missing. Finally, Kesem spoke up. "It was Digo," he began. "I wanted him not to go, but he wouldn't listen." "Digo?" Mr. Senwok said in disbelief. I were the only words that came out of Digo's mouth. His heart was racing. He knew this was one of his brother's tricks, but he had no idea how it was all going to turn out. Without any more words, he packed his bags and left. There was silence. Kesem and his parents were hurt. Kesem was hurt because he had lied against his brother. He also felt bad that his parents had become sad all because of his horrible decision. His parents were hurt that one of their sons had been sent out of the village. After 2 long days of feeling lonely, Kesem finally confessed all that he had done to his parents and the council. He packed his bags and went in search of his brother. Wow! Kesem must have regretted lying against his brother. Let's find out if you had been paying close attention to the details in the story. Come along.